So let's have the next panel come up. I'm almost jealous that Selma gets to do this panel because it's so good. So it's going to be the cliche, I guess, for France: food, dating, fashion. I'm going to let Selma introduce her panel, so I hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you. It's okay? Sorry? As you like. Well, it's okay. Yes. Yeah, this is the last but not least panel today. It's just about what I like to call them the 3F favorite sectors for French startups: fashion, flirting, and fooding. So here with me I have 3 CEOs who are representative of those areas. Fabrice Leparc, who is CEO of Smart Dates, need no introducing, I guess. It's one of the major leading dating websites in Europe. Michael Cohen, you're the CEO of Storyfic. It's a mobile app to order easily at restaurants. And Nicolas, you're the CEO of iPid, which is also the startup behind Where to Get It. It's a fashion, social-focused website. And for the VC point of view, Marc Fournier is a managing partner at Serena Capital, and he's also in charge of the Master of Innovation and Entrepreneurship in ESCP Europe. So please welcome this great panel. So my first question will be just why French startups are just so attracted to your areas? Why you, I guess you find some opportunities on those areas, but also you are attracted to launch your businesses like that. Maybe start with the dating website. Fabrice, can you tell us more about your first experience in this area?
Well, first, my first name is Fabrice, so I thought that with the F, it made sense.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm kidding. But no, it's just that I don't know if we have we can say that we have a French expertise for dating, because we're not really actually selling dating advice. So so it's kind of tough to say that the French are good in setting up dating sites. So honestly, I don't really know what to say. So, if you want to say something.
No, I mean I'm French, but it's not because I'm French that I have chosen this that area. In fact, I was in restaurants and was looking at ways to improve things at restaurants, and found that innovation is something not very developed here in France and in Europe. So I said mobile and restaurants, there is a lot of things to do and innovation to bring to those area. So I could be based in the US and I will have done the same thing. And actually the market in the US is more mature than the one in France.
Okay. And Nicolas?
Yeah, very similar to you. When we came up with the idea to do something in fashion, I mean, of course, we thought, well, we're in Paris; it's the capital of fashion. There must be something special about it. But that wasn't the original driver. The driver really was that we felt that there is a market that is pretty unstructured, very long, very complicated value chain that it is worthwhile looking into and trying to simplify, bring some disruption into this value chain. So the fact that we are in Paris and in France definitely helps to say, well, we're a French company, so we know about fashion and so on, but that's not the real story. So I think it's more coincidence. We could be sitting in London or in Berlin if we were looking into European capitals. I think this would be equally good. But now that we're here, we say, well, we're in France. And I think Sherry said earlier today that France is a good place. So it's definitely not a bad place, but it's not the only place to be and talk about fashion.
Can I add something? No, I think also for dating, I think a lot of French guys are trying to set up dating sites also because there's only one leader, Whereas if you look in Germany or the US, there's going to be a lot of average size players. So I think in France there's more room to emerge versus the leader, because there's just one. So maybe that's the reason for, not because we're good at, you know, love and
to make the same success story as Mythic. That's it.
No, better.
Okay. Mark, I had just had a look at Serena's portfolio. Well, there are many interesting startups, but no fooding, no dating, no fashion. Is it just a choice, or maybe you don't like those French areas?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, to the fact that there's more dating, eating, and dressing in France and other countries, I'm not too sure about that. When preparing for the panel today, I went through the statistics of the fund to see in the last 3-4 years the number of deals we received in which sector of activities, and it didn't seem to me as though there was a clear advantage for any one of those three activities. You know, we all need to get dressed, we all need to eat, and if we can date, that's nice.
So maybe we are biased on TechCrunch France. You know, we have one dating website launching per week. Maybe that's it, Roxanne. So
yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, there might be more at certain areas. There are waves of business plans that we get at certain times. It goes back to Francois's point, and a number of my colleagues in the room here will attest to that. That all of a sudden we get 5 business plans on dating, or we get 5 business plans on food. They kind of come in waves at the same time. Now, to your specific question on Serena. We do have one company in the clothing space, which is Espace Max, specialized in vente privée, private sales, but for the luxury goods. So we do have someone in that space, and Fabrice and I talked for a long time, and
yes.
and found better people elsewhere.
I just wanted to disagree on the food and fashion, because I think that it can add something to, in terms of value proposition for your website. It does add something to the outside world, to the Asians, to the Americans, that you're saying, well, we're French and we do have some legitimacy in terms of fashion and food, because that's kind of what the French are known for. So I think that we can have an edge here in terms of positioning and justifying, like, we're a French startup, and it can be a plus when you sell it abroad.
Yeah, I can add something about the food industry here in France. It's not because you're French that it's going to, you know, the people will say that it's a great product. In fact, they say you're French, and French is associated to service and to great service in restaurants, etc., etc. And when you talk to French restaurants and propose them to use technology to develop their business, it has huge advantage to use mobile in restaurants. When you propose them to get the tool, they say, you know, we don't have any website yet. How do you want us to innovate? So that's typically French, and that's why we are actually trying to move from here.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to add something to Fabrice. Definitely, we're talking about fashion. If you have let's say a French background, it is not bad. It could help eventually to feel more inspiring for people, or feel more like you have the roots. I mean, it's part of your DNA and so on. However, there is one downside to it, and I can tell you about it. Was in New York yesterday, and people, when they hear Paris, they say, "Wow, that's great," and so on. At the same time, what they don't say, or sometimes they say, "Well, that's never going to be a global company." I mean, there's just no French global company. It just doesn't. I mean, no. In the startup world, we're talking here about startups and internets, and there is something about this. I mean, French companies not being able to, we had Dailymotion. We had the example of Dailymotion earlier today, right? It's a French company that don't have the let's say the shine that an American company would have.
So it doesn't help to be French to sell for fashion startup.
Well, it is mixed. It is mixed. It is not a bad thing, but it isn't really. I mean, in itself, it isn't really the thing that you should put forward. It is. I mean, it needs to be the product, needs to be the service. It needs to be what problem you solve, and not where you're coming from. I mean, I could do the same thing being in, again, Berlin and London. Wouldn't make any difference.
Okay, thank you. And well, the main subject here is about innovation. There are really many websites. I just have. It seems to me like they are all doing the same thing. So yes, there are many websites about dating, about food, about fashion, but they almost the same service, the same products. Like when by changing a little bit, there's one or two features, but basically it's like selling clothes or making people date and selling food. So how can we really propose something new on those markets? I also want to.
Okay, so as far as dating is concerned, I think that we can, and that's what we're trying to do with Smart Date. Just we are actually releasing a V2, so we're still not there yet, but we still want to have a more open experience, a more social experience. So really go back to the social dating positioning that I've always believed in, which means that we're going to be more and more having open public profiles connected to the Facebook social graph. We're going to be having a lot of ways to monetize the service versus what's happening right now, which is, if you look at Mediac, it's a very closed network of private profiles where people pay a pretty high subscription, and where only like a few percentages, a very little percentage of all the regs pay a small, pretty high fee. Okay. And I think that when you move away from that model that's been the traditional dating model, there's room for disruption.
So it's a social model.
There's the social aspect which really hasn't been tapered into, and also the way that people pay. I mean, I think that the gaming industry has shown us a lot of things as regards to monetizing, and they've managed to be really disruptive. Companies like Zynga, Playfish, and whatnot, they've managed to put the whole gaming industry upside down just because they managed to have people micropay. And I think we can do similar stuff for dating, which is not the case with traditional players.
And you think like a social platform could work for dating? You know, people when they go on dating website, they don't want all their Facebook friends know about it.
Well, they don't have to let everybody know about it, but if you look also at a player that has emerged very strongly abroad, whose name is Badu. They have managed to sort of really change the traditional model into a more open one, more social, and where people don't mind having public profiles. So I'm not saying that everybody is going to be wanting to have their profiles public, but if you manage to get a good chunk of what matters is volume and monetizing a lot of people, and that's not what the dating industry does so far.
Okay, Michael, you also use a new platform for your like your traffic is based on mobile. That's it, and it's all mobile. So is it is that what helps you to make a difference in the market?
Yeah, I think behavior are evolving, and the food industry, I mean, needs also to evolve. So that's why we had the idea of creating a mobile app and enabling the customer to do things that he couldn't do before. So I think the mobile aspect is really important, and really there is a lot of things to do right now on that aspect still in the restaurant. So yeah, that's one point that makes us do that.
So if you start a
food
startup on mobile, that's your advice for maybe one entrepreneur here?
Yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, and on the fashion side, I mean, it's similar. It's the mobile is definitely an enabling technology. It's the social aspect of fashion that also helps. And going with that is the, let's say, the change really is driven by the consumers, as we see. So, and I can give you a few examples of different companies, since we don't want to promote my company. So, if you look at the fashion value chain again, at the beginning of the design of the creator. And there are a few companies out there, friends of mine who've started a company whose mission it is to collect drawings from future designers who don't have the money to kind of start producing. It's a little bit like MyFab, but applied to fashion. So they collect it, have people vote, have people kind of like pre-order. And once they have enough orders, they just launch the production and then they sell. So that's one way of changing and bringing disruption to the fashion market. Mobility is another one. I think at Le Camping, if Alice is still there, I think there is at least one or two companies who are working also on fashion with mobile. So it changes. You can take all the pictures with you in your pocket. You can be geolocalized. You can find the best store with the size of the dress you're looking for. Trying to geolocalize at your mobile phone and then optimize your shopping route. There are different things like this you can do. On the B2B side, the way fashion works on the B2B side is that there are PR companies whose historical mission it always was to collect images from the future collection, to put together big books and send those books to the magazines. And the magazines, they have piles and piles of books, really paper. What they do, they scan it and then put it on their website. So it's pretty stupid, actually. And now there are companies who are trying to disrupt this and say, well, we're bringing this entire process online with kind of like secure access, and you can share your images of your next collection with the magazine that you want to distribute it to. So there are different ways you can innovate that don't necessarily mean that you need to have a big technology disruption, but it's a process disruption. It's kind of like cutting out some steps that really are antiquated.
Okay, thank you. Marc, maybe you have some remarks about this subject, about innovation in such basic markets?
Yeah, the markets are saturated in the sense that people eat and people get dressed. And it's been like that for a long time. What happens is every time you have a new technology or the adoption of a new device or a new type of technology, you get opportunities that are created with incumbents that have a hard time moving to the new spaces. Either because they've become too big or they don't have the technical architecture to adapt. I think Fabrice with Smart Data is a very, very good example of that, in the sense that you used to have a few years ago ballrooms where you'd meet your future wife. Then that kind of moved on to Le Bon Coin, but versus a paper version. And then you had companies that specialized in matching people. Then you had the Minitel, and then you had Mythique. And every time there's a technological advance, you start different things. And now you have social networks that allow to address that market differently, and Fabrice is right on that sector. But versus Mythique, for example, there are other people that are specialized in very specific verticals that are interesting. So every time you have a new technology, you get new opportunities, even in saturated markets. Especially in very large markets, as the three that we're addressing today.
And of course, mobile is awesome for dating. I haven't mentioned that, but there's not much. If you're trying to date on your mobile right now, there's not much, honestly. The only application that's gotten some press is probably Grindr, which is a gay application. So I'm sure there's also room for really great mobile applications that are going to disrupt the dating market. So I think on the mobile side, there's also a lot to achieve. And Mythique has just released an iPhone app, which is, I think, very forward-looking. I'm proud that they finally did that in 2011.
Okay, thank you. And you're really fair here, you just encourage all those entrepreneurs to go in the same areas as you. So yeah, they're future competitors. So it's pretty cool. So just how can do you feel disruptive in those markets? And maybe many entrepreneurs who are really good skills, and sometimes we just say maybe don't launch a dating website. It's not useful. No, it's low, or don't launch just an e-commerce. Maybe you can make something really useful. You know, the way the entrepreneurs think about changing the world, about making something really different. Sometimes I just thought it couldn't be that disruptive in those markets. You disagree at all, okay?
No, I mean...
I don't talk about, maybe you can disagree because it's your business, so I mean,
we can do things and create things, even if the market is old. I mean, as I said, mobile came a few years ago, and usage are growing. So now we are targeting a wider population that is using mobile on an everyday basis. So yes, there is huge room here. And a huge market to target. So yeah, we can create, and after it depends also on how you do it and the way you manage to make this tool to create this tool. In fact, so.
And comparing with other businesses in the other areas, is it more profitable to launch food and dating or fashion websites in terms of revenue?
The thing is that we are creating the need. The need, as you know, restaurants are, it's a long tail. So we are creating a new need, and so my take is that now we are educating businesses to that approach and tell them the benefits of using such a solution. But I think the customers will be the first to push the businesses to go in that way. So yeah, it's profitable. If not, it's not a business. So for now, it's okay. But we are really targeting the future and really willing to be here now to be able in few years to
My
develop.
thought is just about is it more profitable than anywhere else because you're just selling products that are closer to consumers, maybe.
I mean, I can talk for the fashion market. Definitely, if you look at the size of the market, of the online fashion market, that's one of the biggest markets worldwide. Anyways, one of the most growingly dynamic markets right now, with nice margins on the e-commerce side still, which means to me that there's a lot of room for improvement. And then if you do things right, and if you bring a product offer out there or service out there that kind of addresses a real need by the consumers, then there will be nice business to be made. I mean, it all needs to be created and implemented, and execution is key, I guess. So if you have the right idea and address the real need, then it comes down to execution. And in the fashion market, at least, in the chain where we place ourselves, speaking for my company, there's a huge opportunity if we do it right.
Yeah, as far as dating is concerned, I think we can be in a position where if you manage to not spend all what you earn on marketing to get new people always coming through the door, but you get some kind of variety and some kind of need for your service, and you build a product that people love to use, like they love to use Facebook, then you can have huge margins, which you cannot attain, for instance, in e-commerce. Going back to the example of Badu, they generate 65% plus margins, which is very encouraging and shows that if you're in an immaterial business like mine, there are ways to generate margins that you cannot generate if you do e-commerce. So the answer would be yes. It can be actually a lot more profitable than other businesses, but it doesn't mean it's easier because there's not as many players. But
Thank you. Mark, maybe you have something to tell about that? About the
I think most of it has been said. I mean, the profitability also exists in lots of other sectors. I'm not sure exactly how we calculate it, but there are a lot of other verticals out there. There are a lot of opportunities. These are just 3 examples of very large spaces, large verticals. I think that there's plenty out there to do. There's so many things to invent. There's so many companies to create. The internet is growing at a very, very rapid pace. And at this point, we see so many very, very exciting business plans, different models. Everything has yet to be invented, and what's true today will not be true in 10 years from now, probably. And just just do it.
Okay, thank you. That's really encouraging. Maybe just move to the public question. Any question here?
It's good? Oh, hi. Given how quickly information moves now and how easy it is to collaborate from a distance with other people who are maybe working on a similar project, do you think it's still relevant to suggest that a culture can have a kind of technological or innovation advantage, or is it more a question of where it's easiest to raise money? It is true that there are cultural windows. For example, if you look at a vente privée and how that kind of changed the market at its time, and if you look at Super Marmite now and how it takes advantage of how more French people tend to still cook at home. But it seems to me that those windows are getting smaller.
Angela, can I ask you to introduce yourself and to direct your question to maybe a panelist in particular?
Okay. I'm Angela Natividad. I write about advertising and technology, and it's really open to any panelist who has an idea.
That was a good answer. Yeah, to the point of being able to address other markets from other countries, my personal feeling is that it's not as simple. Internet is really a means of distribution of a given product. It doesn't reinvent the product itself in many circumstances. And being able to say that you can address, especially in the e-commerce space, lots of other markets before having addressed your home market in a very solid way is always something that I find interesting. And more the companies that we see coming to us say, well, as soon as we reach 1 or 2 million in revenue, we're going to start developing and having a European policy and going in every single country. I'm not sure that markets are local. They remain local. The technology allows for lots of things, but it doesn't allow to touch. And regardless of how close you can get to touching, you do need to have a local market. Vente Privée was able to do that because they had the history, because they knew France, they knew the French market. Could it have been done in other markets? Yes, definitely. Will they be able to? Probably. But they need to have a local understanding of how that works in order to develop. I'm not sure I completely addressed your question, but that was my answer.
Thank you. Any other question?
I would just add to Mark's point. I totally agree, definitely, as far as e-commerce is concerned, but also probably for other business models. But there are things that you can do remotely. There are things that you can centralize and do do a central distribution for multiple countries. But then there are definitely things where you have to have a local operation, a local salesperson, a local customer support, whatever it is. But there are things that R&D definitely, even customer support could be central. Everything is technology. There are many things you can optimize today that probably would have been harder 10 years ago. Yes, it's finding the right mix between understanding the local specificities and addressing them correctly, and trying to cut out the costs and overhead and do things centrally for as many countries as you can.
Okay, thank you. Other question?
So just remember to please introduce yourself and ask a question and not to sell anything.
Hello, I'm Reda from TumUp. I have a question for a Smart Date representative. I have the idea, I'm thinking about that startup called Thread, who thought about matching people, friends of friends. How do you think you're going to differentiate and not to fall in the same trap as Thread? And about Badoo, they introduced the gaming aspect. Will you introduce the gaming aspect in your service?
Yes, definitely. I tend to look at what works and try to do it. So maybe I'm just doing copycats. I don't know, but anyway, I like doing what works. So it works for Badoo, so I'm thinking, why not for me? And as for Thread, the issue with them is that they thought they could just do that, meaning have you meet friends of your Facebook friends, and there was nothing else. So the issue is that people want that, but they also want to meet totally different people. So that's the first thing I understood, and that's why I've always thought that Thread wasn't going to work out, because you just don't want to only meet your circle of extended relationships. And the added value that people are going to be willing to pay a little bit of money for is that you give them access to a lot of people that they don't know, which is precisely almost the opposite of Facebook. So you can taper and leverage Facebook, but you can't just be a Facebook app and succeed in dating, because people just don't want to be, or otherwise, I mean, why don't they just use Facebook? So in the end, it's just, so what at Smart Date, what we're trying to do is be a dating platform, taper into Facebook in addition, but that's just an addition. It's not the key concept, if you will, or it's not the only thing that we rely on. Is that clear?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other question?
I think we have time for one more question.
Last question? No one?
Come on.
Maybe from Micah. No.
So
No
there was a suggestion earlier that you guys all merge. Where is it? It's right there, by David. So why don't you guys all merge and create a service to date well-dressed people around good food? I'll leave you guys with that thought. And I think there's a rumor on Twitter that it's also Nicholas's birthday. So if that's the case, happy birthday!
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out. So we have. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.